Hello and welcome back to Creators Like Us. I'm your host, Angela Lyons, brand and marketing graphic designer. And today we're going to do something a little different because there's no guest today. It's me, solo episode, just you and me. And I'm doing it because we've reached the end of season 2. And I want to sit down for a minute and just go through what we've done and have a look and say, wow, I did it. We did it. And thank you for listening. So season 2 kicked off in autumn last year. I wanted to go a little bit deeper, more conversations, and more of those moments where someone says something you think, yes, that's it. And again, I've had lovely comments in my DMs and people saying how some episodes resonated with them. I think sometimes we forget that even though we have a podcast and you guys are listening to it, which is great, again, thank you, there are things happening behind the scene and people saying how it's affected them and how things have changed for them, or they might have heard a tip from somebody. So thank you so much to all my guests. We had Yolanda Sissin on the show and she was talking about building something that's truly yours. Also had Festus Akinbasoyo came in, and to be honest, he reminded me that confidence isn't arrogance, it's preparation. And I loved his episode. I think his was one of my favourites actually for the season because it spoke about having confidence and being prepared and working around your business and also being a public speaker. And this is part of why I'm doing this podcast too, because it's also given me a lot of confidence. And I've heard that people started their own podcasts off the back of this. So this is amazing. So yeah, watching him speak off the cuff and it's just bam. And I listened to him. I've heard him on the radio a few times. I was in genuine awe. So he's brilliant. So go back and listen to that episode if you haven't listened to it yet. I also had the wonderful Kaylee Hall, graphic designer, Ella Orr, Sarah Christie, Jess Bruno, and every one of those ladies came with something that was real and nothing polished, should we say. It was all coming from the heart and how they shared their career journeys. It's their version of their careers, and it just shows that not everything's set in stone as we know. There are pivots, there are doubts, there are moments, am I doing the right thing here? And there are things, I mean, Jess, she burnt down her business, as she said, and she started up again. So that's why I started this podcast. We don't always have it figured out, but we learn from others and we listen to them and we hopefully take some insight from them and start our own thing. And we had Celestine Epping-Young, and that was great, that episode, because we went into an actual podcast studio. That was a studio in North London. And he was sitting there and he told me about 30 years of poetry that he'd been creating and carrying around since he was 10 years old. And then he just started reading it to me. And then he sang it. And I was genuinely not expecting that. It was brilliant. And it's just one of those things where you never know what's going to happen in the podcast episodes. I remember in season 1, when I had Adiza and he also read a poem. And it's just love it. And both those episodes reminded me of why the reason creators like us exist is because there's so many of us out there carrying something brilliant and waiting for the right moment to share it. And I'm hoping this podcast is a platform where people can share it. And also in Celestine's message, it was simple. The right moment is now. Stop saying next year. And so with season 2, I've mixed it up with solo episodes, me talking directly to you about branding and showing up on social media, being consistent across your business. That was one thing that I loved doing this season, actually, because in between that, I did a webinar for Freelancer Magazine around showing up and being consistent in your business. And again, 2 years ago, I didn't think that was even possible that I would be speaking. So just goes to show that you start something, keep on doing it, you get confidence and you just show up. And yeah, you get more comfortable saying things and saying that I'm a podcast host. I must always remember that when I introduce myself to people. I forget that, but I'm getting better at it. This season also got nominated for 2 Black Podcast Awards, Best International and Best Art Podcast. And that is just awesome to even say that out loud. It's just unbelievable. Didn't win, but you know what? Took part. And the people that did win, the podcast 2 ladies, Rig and Flow, go follow them. They are doing amazing things and they've got such a brilliant podcast. So go find them. And again, you know that this is an independent show. So thank you for being here. And it means everything. It means a lot to me. I've also been sitting in the Good Pods top 100 for Black business, creative and design podcasts. So that's a great ranking to have. And I've obviously put that badge on my website and on the podcast website, which again is, wow, thank you. Again, that's because of you guys and you downloading and listening. So generally, thank you, thank you, thank you. As I said, none of this happens without you listening, sharing the episodes, put it on Instagram or LinkedIn and just keep on sharing, leaving reviews, and also slide into my DMs and telling me that something resonated. That's what keeps me going on the days when I'm wondering, is anyone actually hearing this? And should I just stop this? But you are, and I hear you too. So that's why I'm so excited for season 3 is coming. And I'm not going to give too much away. I've already recorded a couple of episodes, but I've got guests and I've got more stories. And there's one thing beforehand, you get a little bit nervous because you think, oh gosh, the guest is coming. Is it going to be okay? And then as soon as I press play and an hour later after we've had the conversation, and sometimes even after we've recorded, we can't stay on the line and carry on chatting. I just think, wow, I'm so glad I'm carrying on doing this. And I really hope that you stick around. And if you know someone would love to be a guest or you should be a guest on the show, gosh, get in touch. Let's talk. I'm always open and I always have people approaching me wanting to be on the podcast. I talk to Black Brown creatives in business and yeah, so tell them to contact me, leave a DM or email me. In the meantime, if you've enjoyed this season, I'd love it if you could leave a review wherever you listen. I think Apple reviews are very hard to leave, I've noticed, when I try and leave them for other podcasts. So if you want to leave it on Spotify, I'd be most grateful. They've made it so much easier. And I can use those comments as part of my social proof when I put my posts out. It takes 2 minutes, couple minutes. Maybe leave a star rating to Spotify and leave a comment. It really does make a difference because it just boosts you up a little bit up the rankings. Thank you for being part of the community. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for supporting creatives like us. And I'll see you in season 3. Won't be long. Take care of yourselves now. See you soon. Bye.